Hey guys, Shockjaw here, and in this video I will be showing you my solo fight against Shockjaw Nayzaga, the third behemoth I went to fight in the Maelstrom. I will tell you how his abilities have changed compared to the regular Nayzaga, as well as how I tried tackling them. I will give you suggestions on what gear to use, as well as other tips which will help you defeat him on your own. Firstly, however, please remember to thumbs up this video if you liked it or it helped you, comment on it if you have something to say or give out feedback, share it as you see fit, and do not forget to follow me on Twitch and subscribe to my channel for more Dauntless content in the links down below. If you're only interested in Shockjaw Nayzaga's abilities, then please check in the description where I will post a link once his abilities guide is complete. Until then, you can check my normal Nayzaga abilities guide, since it will give you a good idea of what to also expect from Shockjaw. Both behemoths have mostly identical abilities, with the difference that Shockjaw has a bit of extra effects, which I will mention later in this video. As I mentioned in my previous video, depending on when you unlock the Maelstrom, you will have access to different behemoths. Shockjaw Nayzaga, who I will call simply Shockjaw in the video, was unlocked for me in my second week after playing in open beta. When you go against him, you will be in two situations. The first one is to face him as your first behemoth in the Maelstrom, which means you will have to use gear from tier 4 against him. In that situation, I highly advise you using your normal Nayzaga armor set, which I also suggest you upgrade to +4 so that you have a maximum armor rating from it. You can also, like me, use a fully upgraded to +4 Stormclaw armor, which will give you a bit more extra armor than the Nayzaga one. And your weapon choice should be a Pangar one for maximum damage. I used a sword as my weapon type, but you can use your own. Shockjaw's encounter does not have a weapon type which is more suitable than the rest. Finally, you should also use a Pangar lantern to keep the frost damage building on him and get him under a frost debuff faster. The second situation is where you have faced another behemoth before him in the Maelstrom and have had a chance to obtain its gear. In that situation, I advise you to check and compare your damage and armor ratings as well as the stat bonuses that each piece gives you. Afterwards, you decide which gear you would rather use. My situation was the following: I had a +6 Rage Tail weapon and also a +4 Firebrand Charrock weapon by the time Shockjaw was available. Technically, I should have used the Rage Tail weapon, but I wanted to show in the video that it is possible to defeat Shockjaw with lower tier gear. Regarding what cells and consumables to use, the choice is again yours, and it depends on your playstyle and strategy. If you have a more aggressive playstyle, then you should take Blitz Tonic, Stamina Tonic and Frenzy Tonic. Remember that using Blitz Tonic is more effective the less health you have. I recommend using it when under 50% health, and if possible to combine it with the Rage stat bonus, which will increase your damage under 50% if you have at least 3 points of it. If you take a lot of damage and need help tackling that, then take the Bulwark Tonic, Ironhide Pylon and Lifespring Pylon. Remember to keep the behemoths in the pylon effect radius when you place them down, so not to waste the pylons. For the cells, again it is strongly individual choice on which ones to use, but against Shockjaw, the deconstruction cell, which fits in a power slot, will give you a good amount of extra damage against his pylons. The Shell Shock Resist cell will also help you if you get hit often by abilities which deal shock damage and apply a shock debuff. This cell fits in a defense slot. For this video, I used the following cells in the following gear slots. In my legs, I had a +1 agility cell. In my gloves, I had a +1 agility cell. In my helmet, I had a +2 weighted strike cell. In my chest, I had a +1 nimble cell. In my lantern, I had a +2 Etheric Frenzy cell. And finally, in my weapon, I had a +2 Ether Hunter cell and a +1 Shell Shock Resist cell. Now, Shockjaw retains all of Nayzaga's abilities and upgrades them a bit. When he spawns his small pylons, he will now spawn 2 pylons per player instead of 1. I'm not sure whether with 4 players he will spawn 8 pylons total, so if I'm wrong here, someone correct me in the comments down below. But when facing him solo, he will spawn 2 pylons each time he uses the ability. The pylons are also noticeably more resistant to damage, so it will take you a bit of time to destroy each one of them. His big pylon also gets more resistance and a nice shield. In order to safely destroy the shield, you will need to wait for Shockjaw to charge the pylon and afterwards hit the electric ball back at it. Now, you do not need to be facing the pylon when you hit it, you simply need to do it and it will automatically send itself back towards it. Doing this will destroy its shield and allow you to damage the big pylon. Sending the ball back is easier with faster weapons and a little tougher with slow ones, but if you know your axe and hammer well, you can time your strike at the precise time needed. When Shockjaw enters Ether mode, he will alternate the target of his shock spin between the big pylon and a random player, so be careful since now you're a potential target when he does this ability. The lightning storm from his shock spin is no different from Nayzaga's, so you just need to carefully roll away when it gets close to you. His slide will also receive a power up during Ether mode. When Shockjaw slides during this phase, he will also do a lightning storm similar to the one he sends when doing shock spin. This lightning storm will travel with him and hit any players around him while he slides, so be careful. Times when he does his slide in Ether mode and he passes through the big pylon, he may destroy its shield. I'm not sure if this is intentional or it is a bug. I'm just sharing with you what I have noticed happening. If someone has tested it and knows for sure, then please mention this in a comment down below. Shockjaw will deal a shock debuff with every attack in Ether mode, similar to Nayzaga. During his enrage phase, there is no change in any ability mechanic or new abilities to appear, they are simply more quick. The strategy for Shockjaw revolves mainly around his pylons. When you go and face him, you can decide whether you want to stick only to damaging him and try to evade every electric ball from the small and big pylons. The other option is to destroy them each time he spawns one. This will increase the duration of the fight, but in return will make it a lot safer and easier compared to the first suggestion. The same principle can apply to his big pylon. If you opt for destroying it, you will gain a few seconds of extra time for damaging Shockjaw while he's down. You can again opt out of destroying it and just evade everything and deal damage to the behemoth. I advise you to destroy his tail first so that you disable his tail swipe and not have to worry about it. This way you open up a situation in which you can stick to his backside and reduce the number of abilities he can potentially throw at you. Remember to always position Shockjaw between you and any pylons which are still up. This will cause the electric balls to hit him and give you space and time to focus on damaging and evading his other abilities. The damage from an electric ball is a lot less than the damage from his other abilities. Although it will apply the shock debuff, which will not let you use any consumables or ether heals until it disappears. That's about it regarding Shockjaw Nayzaga. If I missed anything or you think that there's something I should cover more in depth or have not given enough attention in this video, then please leave a comment to tell me. Thumbs up the video if you have liked it or it has helped you in some way. Share it as you see fit, and lastly, do not forget to follow me on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube at the links below for more Dauntless content.